The journey of addiction began at an early age for Dan Hannikin, who found using drugs and alcohol helped him overcome his feelings of social isolation.
I got drunk for the first time when I was 14 years old. I remember certainly seeing other adults drinking and having a good time. I wanted to try it. The first time I got drunk, I felt like it set me free. Alcohol pretty quickly progressed into drug use, and I became a cocaine user. I certainly could not afford to support my cocaine habit, so I began selling drugs to support that habit.
Dan ended up with 3 DWIs before he was even legally old enough to drink, but somehow he managed to avoid jail time.
I got involved in a lot of geographical escapes. I moved from St. Louis to Lake of the Ozarks. I moved from Lake of the Ozarks to Springfield, Missouri. I moved from Springfield, Missouri to Naples, Florida. I moved from Naples, Florida to Marco Island, Florida. I went to California for a little while, came back to Missouri, went back to Florida. And it seemed like everywhere that I ran to, I ended up with the same problems.
Back in Missouri, Dan's addiction caught up with him.
When I was 26 years old, that I was involved in a drunk driving accident that I sent 7 people to the hospital as a result of my drunk driving. And I was charged with 7 second-degree assaults.
This prison sentence was the first of 3 for Dan. After the first 2 releases, he was confident he wouldn't use alcohol or drugs again, but within months, he was back feeding his addiction. The positive side of his incarceration was a new journey he began with his faith, but it didn't keep him from making mistakes when released. During Dan's 3rd prison sentence, he began to lose hope and was unsure of his ability to stay sober. He also developed a brain tumor which required treatment immediately upon release.
When I reflect on that, I'm reminded of the hopelessness, that I didn't have the courage to take my own life, but I had absolutely no will to live at all. And I really felt like dying on a hospital bed was certainly more respectful than dying in prison, dying in a drug house, dying in a police shootout. But God got through to me. There you go again, Dan, trying to do my job and trying to be the God of your life. And at that point I surrendered. I just surrendered to that, and so from that point on, I have a new commitment to recovery. I have a new commitment to my faith. I have a new commitment to giving back.
And after he had that brain surgery, it really turned his life around. I mean, I think he learned to appreciate God. He learned to count his blessings. And then he just made it his journey to help others and try to pull them up from their bootstrings too. And he's done it, he's done a wonderful job.
After leaving the hospital, Dan moved into an Oxford house in Columbia and began attending 12-step meetings. He also went back to school at the University of Missouri in the School of Social Work. He began figuring out what he and others like him needed to be successful in recovery and avoid the patterns of behavior that lead to reincarceration.
Dan always appeared to want more for people, want more for himself, and not just individually in a selfish or self-centered way, but he wanted to be a part of something that was doing some actual change in individuals' lives.
Recovery success became the focus of Dan's life, not just for himself, but for others. He eventually developed and implemented a program called Into Action.
Into Action is designed to provide residential, comprehensive transition services to people recently released from prison. What that means is when guys get out of prison, they come here the day of their release. We give them a safe and drug-free, clean place to live. We provide them with all of their basic needs on day 1.
I believe that Dan is a mental health champion because of his commitment to want to bring some resolution, to bring a change to individuals who suffer from substance abuse disorder and criminal thinking and criminal behaviors.
Today, Dan's goals center on the Into Action program and his role as an adjunct professor at the School of Social Work.
I want the people that are graduating from the social work program at MU to be effective at the work that they're doing. So that's another way that I give back. That's very significant to my recovery. And then lastly, my bigger goal of being able to create a model. You know, how awesome would it be to be able to give back in a much larger way by helping other communities establish things like Into Action, where they can be serving dozens and dozens and dozens of people a year.
Just keep up the good work, son.
Godspeed to you and continued blessings in your endeavors.
The sky is the limit, and that is what makes Dan Hanneken a mental health champion.